Hello and welcome back to the All Four Downs podcast. It's our new season in the NFL, the show where we dive for extra yards into the exciting world of the National Football League. I'm your host, Ovi Muniz, and I am delighted to have you join me tonight. Today, I have an awesome episode lined up as we explore the predictions on each division. We're also going to be talking about the new rules in the NFL and, of course, some sports betting stats. Last season, the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl and became the ninth team to go back to back champions. However, did you know that no NFL team has ever won three straight Super Bowl wins? Can the Kansas City Chiefs make history this season? But before we get started, I want to thank our sponsor, Clovercrest Media, who makes this podcast possible. Visit our website, cmgsportscentral.com, for the latest podcast of your favorite major sports. So, here we go. All right, this is first down. 8 teams acquired new head coaches. The Falcons rehired Raheem Morris. The Panthers hired Dave Canales. Chargers have Jim Harbaugh. The Raiders permanently hired Antonio Pierce from the interim head coaching job. The Patriots hired Jared Mayo, and the Seahawks hired Mike McDonald. The Titans hired Brian Callahan, and the Commanders hired Dan Quinn. Out of these coaches, 4 are new as head coaches, which is Canales, Mayo, McDonald, and Callahan. And only Jim Harbaugh and Dan Quinn have a Super Bowl experience and have a winning record as a head coach. As of now, Jim Harbaugh is heavily favored to turn the Chargers around and compete closely with the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll move it on to second down. All right, here we go. We're going to recap the last season's NFL standings. The Baltimore Ravens had the best record, finishing 13-4. The 49ers, Cowboys, and Lions all finished at 12-5. The Dallas Cowboys had the best home record, going undefeated, 8-0. On the other side, the Ravens and the 49ers both had 7 wins on the road. The top offense were the Cowboys, Dolphins, and 49ers, and the best defense were the Ravens, Chiefs, and the 49ers. For all the sports betting fans, this is very intriguing. The best picks with the spread were the Detroit Lions. So if you picked them, odds for favor that you went 14-6. So that's actually 70%. And imagine if you lead it into this season, especially Detroit are desperate and most likely are trying to attempt to get back to the playoffs and hopefully reach into the Super Bowl. However, the Carolina Panthers had the worst pick with a 4-11-2 record. In the over-under category, the best games to pick over the total point games were the Cleveland Browns, Detroit Lions, Indianapolis Colts, and the San Francisco 49ers. What does that mean? That whenever they post the spread, or the over-under, let's say it was 50 points. Well, if you were the games with the Browns, Lions, Colts, and 49ers, it would be expected that they will always go over. So you had a better chance of picking them to go over so you could settle your bets there. And that's pretty amazing. Well, just remember, did those teams actually upgrade to maintain that status quo? We're moving on to third down. Let's take a look at each division with my prediction, and I'm going to start off with the AFC East. The Buffalo Bills have won 4 straight division titles. However, they have lost the last 3 AFC division playoffs. The last time the Bills won 4 in a row was in 1988 through 1991. Those you might remember, those were the times when, you had Kelly as a quarterback and those elite offense and everything else, but they couldn't really get the job done. In 1992, the Miami Dolphins won the AFC East title. This season, I do predict that the Miami Dolphins will win the division. They have added a big threat to their offense. So imagine that. You have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Odell Beckham Jr. Three one actually they got the top three fastest wide receivers. All three of them can catch, and all three of them can score. At any given time in that field, they are dangerous. There is definitely a tremendous amount of speed for Tua Tagovailoa to pass the ball to. So Tua better not mess it up. But the Bills traded Stephon Diggs to Houston. The Patriots will have to decide who will be their starting quarterback. And there is Aaron Rodgers. Is he really the answer for the Jets? Really? I don't know. Let's move on from this one. The AFC North. I am favoring the Cincinnati Bengals to win the NFC North. As long as Burrow is healthy and the wide receiver core is there, the Bengals can make a push for the Super Bowl. The Ravens are unpredictable. The Steelers and the Browns, it's a toss-up. It really is. But the Cleveland Browns, they have finished 8-9. I'm predicting them they're going to finish 8-9 at the minimum. But keep in mind that in the AFC North, this division will most likely are going to be the most competitive and the dangerous division in the AFC. So I could be wrong when it comes to the record for the Cleveland Browns and, of course, the Steelers. But I tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if all four teams finish above 500 for their record. Let's move on to the AFC South. You got to love the Houston Texans. They were able to win the division unexpectedly. They won the division. That's pretty awesome. Okay. Winning in 2023. The last time they did it was in 2019. But this division supposedly was Jacksonville Jaguars division, right? The Colts are unbalanced. The Titans now have a new head coach. They probably rely on Will Levis to be the quarterback. I don't know, but then again, weird things can happen in the AFC South like we saw last season. But keep in mind, I believe that the Houston Texans are disciplined enough and should be better than last season. That's why I predict them going 11-6. In the AFC West, the Chiefs have gone 9 straight playoff appearances. Out of those 9 straight playoff appearances, there are 3-1 in the Super Bowl. Imagine that. And they got a chance to do it again. Yep. The Chiefs will win the division again, but they will have competition with the new head coach, Jim Harbaugh, and the Los Angeles Chargers. And for the Chargers, they don't need to rely on the most desperate head coach from the past, okay? Because you don't have to go on fourth down on their side. They don't always have to go on fourth down. Jim Harbaugh is that guy that could really manage the team and manage the game. And they made the best choice of grabbing Harbaugh, hiring him. And I do believe that they could be one game short behind the Kansas City Chiefs to finish 11-6. The Raiders and the Broncos is unpredictable, but I am a big fan of Bo Nix. I wouldn't be surprised if Denver finished in front of the Raiders. Then again, maybe the Raiders might not do so well. Maybe I'm overrating them at 9-8, but anything is possible in that division. Let's move on to the NFC East. The Cowboys were able to win the division, but lost in the wild card playoffs. Then again, how could you be surprised with the Cowboys in the playoffs? This season, the Eagles are going to take back that title with a new addition of their running back, Saquon Barkley. Giants, I have no idea what y'all are doing. Y'all relying on Daniel Jones to do everything. This guy's never healthy for any season. And I'm just not seeing the Giants really doing anything well. I do see the Giants maybe 6-11 might be too much. I don't know. But it could be a head coaching change. And it definitely could be Carson Beck's landing spot to the New York Giants. However, Jaden Daniels may be fitted with the new head coach and everything else in that organization. Not going to go ahead and give them the spotlight just yet, but they could finish above 500 if they stay great, okay? Undetermined to see how that defense is, but that offense, there's some upgrades. But for the Cowboys, is Ezekiel Elliott the answer to get them back to the team? I don't know. I do foresee the Eagles running the table in the NFC 13-3. That's a long shot. I'll be surprised. Maybe they could go, 13-4, maybe. But then again, they could do a lot better. It seems like they got the recipe to try to finish undefeated in this season. Who knows? Let's move on to the NFC North. The Lions won the division for the first time since 1993. They seek to win it back to back. Jordan Love and the Packers will look to hang in there with the Lions. However, the Vikings with Sam Darnold as a starter, or potentially late in the season have J.J. McCarthy to start. The number one draft pick, Caleb Williams, should start for the Bears. What's going on in this division? Listen, I'm going for the Lions all the way. I want them back in the Super Bowl. I love this story, especially for Jared Goff, and I love their head coach. But then again, not dissing the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers left. Jordan Love stepped up last season. Man, you just got to love some football, huh? You got to love this division. The Vikings and Bears, I do not expect them to do anything great this season. Let's move on to the NFC South. Kirk Cousins. Wow. Imagine that. Heading to the Falcons. That's exactly what they needed. They needed a quarterback, and they got it. Okay. Adding Cousins will give the Falcons a chance to win the NFC South. However, the Saints can make some noise with Derek Carr. The Buccaneers have won 3 straight divisions, but can Baker Mayfield lead the team? Did he get lucky last season? I don't know. But, the NFC South wasn't that pretty. Lastly, Bryce Young and the Panthers, they had a terrible season. Now they got a new coach. It doesn't look like this team is going to be that bright this season. And in NFC West, never doubt the San Francisco 49ers. With Brock Purdy in that roster, they look to try to repeat for another appearance in the Super Bowl. The Rams won the Super Bowl in 2021 with Matthew Stafford. This could be it for Matthew Stafford. I don't know. I just got a gut feeling that this year he's going to probably fight all the way to the end, and injuries might catch up when, who knows. But if the Rams going to do something, it's got to be this year with Matthew Stafford, or it's going to be a wrap. Seattle, they may start Geno Smith as quarterback, but there are backup if should Smith not play to his expectations. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals are hoping that their season can be outstanding. Now they drafted their rookie wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. We're going to move on to fourth down. It's the final whistle, and a lot of things been scratching my head about these rules and everything, but if you paid attention to the XFL, then the rules are very similar. You probably understand it. If not, it could be confusing. So let's go ahead and check out some of the updates for this upcoming season. And I'll zoom in real quick to my little slideshow here. Well, first and foremost, we'll start off with the hip drop tackle. A hip drop tackle occurs when a defender grabs and wraps up a ball carrier, rotates or swivels his hips, unweights himself, and drops onto the ball carrier's legs during the tackle. This foul will result in a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down if a player uses the following techniques to bring a runner to the ground. If he unweights himself and swivels and dropping his hips or lower body, grabbing the runner with both hands or wrapping the runner with both arms, or landing on the trapping of the runner's legs or below the knee. Apparently that these maneuvers are causing major injuries, especially in the lower body, and the NFL is trying their best to eliminate that. Now, sometimes I'm scratching my head because this game, the way these are athletic guys, man, like it goes so fast, and I'm just wondering how are these defenders are going to make the play? How are they going to make the stop? I just feel like there's going to be more yellow flags in this game, and it's going to be disruptive. Let's put it that way. The kickoff rules. The new rule that keeps the exciting of kickoff returns in the game while returning the injury rate closer to that of a traditional scrimmage play. To address the lower kickoff return rate in the NFL history during the 2023 season and unacceptably injury rate on kickoffs prior to that, the NFL club have approved a new kickoff rule for the 2024 season. Now, if there's any rules that should have been addressed a long time ago, was the kickoff because of the head injuries and everything else. I mean, this playbook go back to the XFL 2.0. Okay. And I love that rule. If there's any rules, I'm not talking about tackling or anything else. I'm talking about the kickoff because I believe that's the most dangerous play because everybody's going full speed. Now let's take a look closer on these changes of this kickoff rules. First, the kickoff team will kick off from its 35-yard line. 10 members of the kicking team will line up on the receiver's team's 40-yard line. So as you can see that there are 25 yards away from each other. That's good. And I'm hoping, yeah, I got my math correct. All right. 25 yards from each other. I like it. A minimum of 9 members of the receiving team will line up between the 30 and the 35-yard lines. So that's good in a sense, right? Not everyone's on the line. Play begins when the ball is either caught or hits the ground in the landing zone or is returned from the end zone. For example, once they kick it, the players cannot move until the receiver catches the ball, or if the ball hits the ground, then all members could run. Okay. Now, the landing zone is between the receiving team's 20-yard line and its goal line. Okay. Here we go. Any kick that hits and stays in the landing zone must be returned. There's not an option. I love it. Not an option. You just got to make it happen. And for the kicker or the punter, I'm going to tell you this right now. Okay. This is very, very important because you can't down it when it's in the landing zone. You only can down it if it's in the end zone. Any kick that bounces from the landing zone into the end zone must be returned or downed by the receiving team for a touchback and possession at its 20-yard line. And again, the ball has to land and then travel through the end zone. Then they could down it. If a kick fails to reach the 20-yard line, the receiver team takes possession at its 40-yard line. So they have to kick it in there. If it doesn't reach, the ball moves to the 40, and that's a good advantage or a great advantage for the offense. If the ball enters the end zone in the air, the receiving team can return it or down it and take possession at its 30-yard line. If the ball goes out of bounds, the receiving team takes possession at its 40-yard line. Onside kicks permitted in the fourth quarter. Setup and landing zones do not change after penalties or a safety. Only the spot where the ball is kicked changes. So I'll say that again. Onside kicks permitted in the fourth quarter. Setup and landing zones do not change after penalties or a safety. Only the spot where the ball is kicked changes. Additionally, here's some other rules that have been established in the offseason and has been approved by the NFL and the union, or should I say the Players Association. So, in the first rule, to protect the club's ability to challenge a third ruling following a one successful challenge. That's pretty good. So pretty much they got an extra challenge in their pocket. That's great. Another rule is Rule 14, Section 5, Article 2 allows for any enforcement of a major foul by the offense prior to a change of possession in a situation where there are fouls by both teams. Okay, so to allow for any enforcement of a major foul by the offense prior to a change of possession in a situation where there are fouls from both teams. More so, another rule is including a ruling of a passer down by contact or out of bounds before throwing the pass as a reviewable play. And I love that rule because, again, the game goes by so fast that they make that judgment. Now, if the referees are not sure, they can always review the play. And the coaches do not have to challenge it. Another rule is to allow a replay review where there is clear and obvious visual evidence that the game clock expired before any snap. That was a big concern last year for many games when they snapped the ball and already the clock was at zero. Also, to eliminate potentially dangerous tackling techniques. We just covered that already. And for 1 year only, okay, this rule is only for this season to create a new form of a free kick play that is designed to resemble a typical scrimmage play by aligning players on both teams closer together and restricting movement to reduce space and speed, and to promote more returns. Now, that's a lot of rules going in here. And I'm hoping that with all these rules, it makes the game better. But we're just going to have to see it to believe it if it's awesome or not. And you're going to have some players be disgruntled about it. People are going to complain about it. But hey, they get paid millions of dollars. They're able to learn how to change their game, right? But for others, hey, will that be beneficial? Will that change the way that we make our bets online and stuff like that? Who knows? Um, but the one thing that I got to address before I end this show is that all these changes are trying to help, right? And then there are going to be some people that say, hey, why not have them play two-hand touch or flag football? There's going to be a lot of arguments, but just keep in mind that the NFL is trying to push an 18-game season. And they're only going to try, if they do the 18-game season, they're going to attempt to only have a one scrimmage game. And there's so much to this. All right. And I guess it's a build-up to try to make it to an 18 game so that one, revenue increases, and two, the season's longer for us fans to keep watching some football. And I believe it. With the college football expansion on their playoffs going deep into January, we could probably witness and see that the NFL continues to expand their version all the way through February. It's all about money. But hey, more to follow on all these changes and all these news about, the expansion, and who knows if we even get an expansion in teams. That could be a possibility, but we'll see. But I appreciate you listening to the All Four Downs podcast. Tune in each week. We're live or our recordings as we cover both the NFL and college football. And if you missed out on the college football rankings for my preseason ranking, please go ahead and visit the YouTube channel, All Four Downs. And of course, you can follow me on Facebook. So thank you for listening. Take care, everyone. Gotta love some football, yeah? I can't wait. Take it easy, everyone.